Welcome to Beefy Boys Breakdown. We're going to be recapping the prelims of UFC Fight Night Spivac Tybura 2. I know that sounds electrifying, so just stay tuned. And we'll get through this together, folks. But yeah, we're the only show out there going to every single fight on every single card. And even these cards. So that's how you know we're married to the game. But man, we're going to start off talking about Karol Rosa, Kianzad, the most consequential fight you could argue on the prelims. We had ranked bantamweights. Rosa coming in ranked 8th, Kianzad at 11. Rosa finished at minus 220. We got her at minus 205 on the parlay, so that was some nice
That was
value at
nice
Caesars.
juice, especially.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Nice juice because of how this fight goes, if that makes sense.
And also, we had Rosa by decision ticket. However, it was not a straight bet, and we had it on a parlay. You had it with Barlow.
The Barlow KO.
And I had it on what did I have it
Gregorio
with?
KO?
Gregorio. Yeah, I had it with Gregorio KO. So we both got hosed on our method of victory.
If either of us had put it with the Zalal sub, which by the way would have been the highest odds to pair it with, would have cashed.
Yeah. Or, man, like I said, even if we just had Karol Rosa as a straight bet, we would have been both in the green this week. So kind of a bad beat there. But, yeah, man, I mean, I got to say, I was all over this. I think I had Karol Rosa 5-star. So to get a 5-star pick at minus 205, I mean, as a bettor, I was very stoked on this one. I've been on Pannie Kianzad for a while. I think she was kind of a fraud and didn't really deserve her place in the rankings. Granted, just need anybody that could fog a mirror at when bantamweight. But Karol Rosa, I did think is like the delineating line. I was like, she's like actually legit. You can't say that about many women's bantamweights, but I respect Karol Rosa, and I respect her even more after this performance. I mean,
I thought she looked fantastic.
Like Mortal Kombat flawless victory, right? Like obviously she doesn't get the finish, but I mean, just you can't draw it up much better. And Karol Rosa by decision was a lot. Like she doesn't get finishes, so like a perfect Karol Rosa performance doesn't end in a finish because she's not a finisher. So like this to me is like how you draw it up if you're Karol Rosa.
I think this is a fight that couldn't display more how numbers do not tell the story of a fight. So check this out, right? Total strikes landed 140 for Rosa, 138 for Kianzad. Damn near the same.
That's shocking.
Then you go to significant strikes, and as far as like if we take out leg kicks from that, Kianzad had 78 significant strikes to the head or body. Kianzad had 76. Rosa had 78. So it's like, realistically, Kianzad got a little more ground and pound. Rosa got more leg kicks. Yeah, it's like, it's weird because the numbers are close. But this fight is not. Like, the damage on Kianzad is crazy. Me seeing that Rosa got hit 138 times, I don't even believe it.
Yes, because there was such a difference in like power. I remember we talked about earlier on the Chepe Mariscal fight. I used the word vicious. Like,
yeah.
No, I'm not going to compare
the impact of the strikes
to
was so. It was just so different, man. It was just like every one of Rosa's was worth 2 or 3 of Kianzad's, and Rosa still landed slightly more. So that tells you like the damage is going to be a huge difference.
And this is totally bro science. This isn't like real statistics, but like what I would argue that like 25%. Rosa's like strikes landed to the head were elbows. Like she was throwing so many elbows.
Oh my God.
Remember there was that one point in the fight, I forget which round it was, but like she was leading with the elbow instead of the jab, the lead arm elbow. Usually elbows come from the power side, but she was using like her elbow as a jab, her lead hand elbow or lead arm elbow. It was pretty slick. You don't see it often. It was working too, like repeatedly. There was like a round. I wanted to say it was
I believe round 2 was whenever she was just spamming the elbows, and then
she was literally spamming it.
Right, because the start of the fight was her eating the calf alive and landing some good shots, and then in round 2, Kianzad tried to like close the distance to not let the calf get eaten up and started eating elbows, and yeah, it was just Rosa just beat the shit out of her for all 3 rounds. Credit to Kianzad for surviving 15 minutes and throwing back the whole time.
I know. I literally did not think that like. The bias. I didn't think this fight was going to make it to.
I know the accumulation was scaring me. Like the amount of damage that was stacking on Kianzad in different spots too. So like the leg kicks could have been a finisher. The head strikes could have been a finisher. She could have gotten gassed from all the damage and just gotten subbed. Like I saw a lot of paths to losing or to victory that were not decision for Rosa, but still got it.
He still got it, and like man, yeah, because it was like what 3.5 minutes into round one, and Kianzad could barely stand. That
Right.
leg was destroyed. I was like, oh god, we have 12 more minutes. Like I don't. I looked at my wife. I was like, I don't see how this makes it to like the distance. Like,
I
and
mean,
then yeah,
credit
yeah.
to Kianzad for being a dog and just saying like, all right, I won't sit on the edge. My leg can't get eaten up. I'll have to engage. And then she would eat elbows to the face, and then she would just go back to eating leg kicks, and then back to elbows to the face. Like, credit to her.
No, Kianzad actually is a dog. Like honestly, if we do like a women's chin of the year, like this may like get consideration.
Especially because she fought back the whole time. Like almost like when Chris Moutinho won it, it was like ungodly chin, but also like didn't stop the volume.
Man, and like in Carol Host's career, it's literally her topology page looks like a goddamn Christmas card because it's just alternating red and green. I mean, she going back to 2021, win over Betchka Hea, decision. Lost to Sarah McMahon, who was ranked at the time, I think, in the top 10. Lost a decision. Win over Lena Landsberg, not a great win, but majority decision. Woof, even worse. Then lost to Norma Dumont, a decision. Win over Yana Santos, split decision. Lost to Irene Aldana by decision. Now you got the win over Penny Kianzad.
By decision.
So it's just like by decision. That's why I like it. Yeah. So, literally her last finish was in 2019 in Future FC.
Nice.
Against the girl that nobody's ever heard of. So yeah, I mean, again, Carol Hosta, I mean, I'm high on her right now just because, like, eye test wise, she looked so good. The leg kicks, the power, it's at the standing elbows, like that was slick. I moved her up to 6 in my power rankings. It kind of felt weird jumping her over Caitlin Vieira, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I was really impressed with that performance.
So you
obviously wasn't going to jump her over Norma Dumont because Dumont just recently beat her, but.
Right. Do you think that's so? Like the UFC right now has, like I said, Tate, Dumont, and Hosa all tied at number 8. Really stupid. I almost think based on like recent activity and performance. No, I can't. I would have to put Dumont at 8, Hosa at 9.
I got a name for you because it's one of the only like bigger names. And Carol Host is not a big name, but she's like a women's bantamweight that like people have heard of before. But like, and they haven't fought yet, and she's fought basically everybody else in the division that matters. I'd be cool with the Myra Buenos Silva Carol Host matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. That was kind of the name I had envisioned as well. Her or Holly Holm, just one of the two.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, God, this division is so rough, man. Holly Holm 42. Jermaine Durand made 40. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, Raquel Pennington 35 and just itching to retire at any, like, just can't counting down the days. You got Irene Aldana, 36 years old. You got Macy Chesson and her Fortis coached ass in there. Yeah. Kayla Harrison needs to grab this strap and just start cleaning house. But that also sucks because Kayla Harrison's not making bantamweight more than twice a year. There's no way in fuck. So that belt's still never going to be defended. And she's going to just like destroy one of these girls. It's going to be back to the Nunes days where there's 2 fights a year. You know, it's minus 450 money lines. And, you know,
hopefully, old Nunes comes back for Kayla Harrison. At this point, that's the only fight we could be waiting for, right?
That would be so sick. Like I'd actually like that more. I'm not even trying to troll here. I mean this. I'd rather see that than Jones Stipe. Like actually, like, I'm not. It sounds spicy, but like I really do mean it. Now, yeah, and then Kianzad, like I said, I never viewed her as a top 15 girl. I dropped her all the way down to like 21. I think. I mean, there's some of these super young prospects that I couldn't drop her behind because of the just sample size. But, like, I've seen enough of Penny Kianzad to know that she's, like, not the one. Like, I think it's time that we do, like, feed her to these prospects and, like, and just either weed out these prospects that are out there. Bantamweight has so many girls that are, like, 8-1, 7-1, 9-1. And it's, like, I don't know what to do with them. Like, I don't know if they're good or not. Like, I really don't. So it's like, I say we use Penny Kianzad because, like, if a girl's 7-1 and beats Penny Kianzad, at least we know she's not like a fraud. You know what I mean? Like she can like actually go.
Kianzad's
So
kind of like the best koozie possible for the division.
like the Neil Magny, we need to just use her as the Neil Magny of bantamweight.
Kind of, yeah, like the fraud check.
Yeah,
She's the fraud check.
yeah.
She's the fraud check test.
Agreed. Because I'm done watching Kianzad fight these top girls. But yeah, I mean, Hosa look really, really, really good. I'm kind of high on her right now. Just in a division that gives you nothing to be excited about, like that was a really good performance. And like maybe she's figuring some things out. And she is younger than a lot of these girls. A lot of these girls are older than her. So
If she could beat MBS or Holly Holm, it would be a new player in the division, and I would like that. But with that being said, it is women's bantamweight. I say we keep it pushing. We got
yeah, let's keep it pushing to men's heavyweight.
Exactly right. You knew exactly where I was going with that. We got to get to old D-Max Williams by decision, and old Janata Diniz. And also, just want to shine my own wheels talking about how Williams is super chinny in the fact that he gets wobbled and then will shoot a takedown and somehow miraculously pull off the takedown, but doesn't shoot takedowns until he gets rocked.
Yeah, I'll say just broad stroke, tip of the cap to you. Like you saw this one a lot better than me, and you as far as like actually how the fight would look, not just being right or being wrong. Like you actually, like in the betting recap, like did a much better job than me. Like your old 2K simulator. Like I feel like you saw this one better than me.
I just literally had no idea who was going to win because I thought either guy could win, and I didn't know that Diniz could finish Williams. And I also thought Williams could get rocked and shoot a takedown and get it, or could get rocked, shoot a takedown and not get it. But I just was so in the air with this that I was like, it's a no bet, but I kind of like Diniz, but I also kind of like Williams. So my thing was Diniz by KO, Williams by decision. Neither hit, so glad I stayed away.
See, and I would have bet my left nutsack that even if Carl Williams was getting his takedowns stuff, that he would have like pushed him up against the cage, like rendered him defensive, almost like Umar did to Sandhagen in round one, where like he would like still like snoozely win these rounds. That's why I bet it by decision. Like I didn't think Carl Williams was gonna put a hurting on him. I just thought he'd be able to clinch it up, downs. And I'll tell you this, I mean, ultimate like Captain Obvious hindsight 2020 take, but it's like if you would have told me that he was going to kickbox with him, I mean,
would have never bet him.
Yeah. Like that's why like it was a weird feeling watching this fight go down because it's not like he really got the wrestling stuff. There were a couple of takedowns that were stuff, but like he just kind of didn't wrestle. Like,
he only shot
like,
5 takedowns, and he got 2 of them, and one was after he got rocked later on in the fight, and like it won him.
Yeah, I was about to say,
me, it won him the third round.
Yeah, I think a couple of those, or most of those, were in the third round. The first 2 rounds were basically a kickboxing match with like, hey, Diniz is going to win that.
Yeah, and like Carl Williams was like finding success, but then he would eat massive bombs, and it was like you can't trade bombs at this weight and like land like you can't trade 5 for 1 at heavyweight. You just can't do that.
Oh, yeah, he got wobbled bad in the first round. He got wobbled again bad in the third round, and I got a hot take, and it was cool. It's it's very, very rare on the internet to like have a hot take. Somebody disagrees with you, and then you actually lay out a case so well that they're like, "Oh, actually, like that's so rare on that's so rare on the internet." I had one of those moments. I'm gonna show my own wheels because like I gave round 3 to Diniz, and that's as a Carl Williams better. And here's why, man. Carl Williams hurt so goddamn bad on the feet. So that's step one.
He was like, dancing. It was really like ring. He was dancing out there.
He was borderline like Johnny Walker.
I know. And then got a takedown.
But then here's the indictment on Williams that also factors into me scoring this to Diniz. He waited way too long to start getting damage. Because it's like everybody's like, oh, those last 9 seconds, he really got a lot of damage off. But that's like
where
also
was it
my
for
argument.
The first 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, he waited till there was 9 seconds left to get damage off. Like I still score the damage battle to Diniz if I'm scoring damage. And like, yeah, he got taken down. Did fuck all with it. At the very end, did something with it. But I wasn't going to give Williams that round based off like 9 seconds of fury, as my dudes out there can relate to. Give you the best 9 seconds of your life, you know what I mean?
Not to mention, I have it as a coin flip round 3, so I'm fully fine with the 30-27 here. I have it 29-28, but fully okay with 30-27. But also, I forgot in round 2, Williams was almost where he couldn't stand on his leg. He almost got finished by leg kicks.
The damage battle was so clearly for Diniz, but like I
Yeah.
said, man, I mean, hindsight 2020. Wish I had a crystal ball. Whatever you're saying, like somehow had a crystal. If I would have known that Carl Williams was going to kickbox with him for 10 minutes to start this fight, I would feel much differently about my bet and my predictions and all that stuff. So I don't know, man. Like this definitely, I was kind of high on Williams, like in a lukewarm way. Like I said, like I viewed him as snoozy, but I thought he could like find a way to like out strategize some of these heavyweights. But like, if you're just gonna fight like an absolute idiot, then I mean, that was like the only thing I liked about him. I liked that like he had fight IQ and the wrestling and the cardio. Like that's what I liked about him. Like, and so you're gonna take the fight IQ out of that equation. It's like, all right, well, there's not much to like about you. So my feelings about Carl Williams swung a lot. I dropped him down into the koozie tier. I dropped him below Gaziv. And then Janata at 8-0 proved he can stop some takedowns, proved how kind of fast, because the commentators too are raving about the hand speed. Like, and they're guys that know what they're looking at. Like, they seem to like it's special.
Has solid power, good leg kicks. I don't hate Diniz. I really don't.
No, I put him right between Gaziv and Romanov. Like,
very fair. Very fair.
I think he still needs to prove that he's like can beat that caliber of guy.
Yeah.
But I like him. I like him. If he fought Gaziv, I think he would just like outwork him, like activity. I think in our notes we're gonna have the word activity written quite a bit. And then like a Romanov, we just haven't seen him deal with like that level of grappler, that size.
The clinch grappler too, not
yes.
the like shoot on your legs grappler. Because Romanov's all like upper body, try to body lock,
like
throw
Greco.
you. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. So like that's a test that we haven't seen him check, and just size wise, it's going to be a lot different than a Carl Williams takedown, just like the power and size and strength. So, but like I said, I mean, I gotta say, coming into this one, I didn't really give a fuck about Diniz, but like I'm so thirsty for a heavyweight to like give a fuck about that. Like I'm tempered. I'm not saying I'm shoveling coal, but it's like I'll open up the bag. I'll get it ready for the shovel. He reels off a couple performances. Like I'm dying for like a heavyweight to like be a fan of and like get behind a guy that's not like that's younger than 39. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
you'll take your Tom Aspinall with the side of Diniz. I get it.
Like I'm just saying, you look at Rosenstruik, you look at Rogerio de Lima, you look at Tybura, you look at Derek Lewis. I mean, goddamn, it looks like the ages on a construction site roster more so than a professional athlete roster. And like, and then you got Tai Tuivasa, who's like basically washed, even though he's not old.
Washed for his beer company. You know what I mean? Just divested from the UFC. He's kind of.
That's what I'm saying. Like checked out. Yeah. Like quasi retired, and like I said, they've been trying to sell me Waldo Cortez Acosta. Like
you'll never sell me on that.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like I'll take Diniz over like a Waldo Cortez Acosta, and I don't mean taking him as far as picking him to win right now. Although that would be an interesting kind of fight. But what I'm saying is it's like a guy to like back, a guy to kind of believe in, get your hopes up for. Like I would rather. It sounds weird to say, like, emotionally invested. Like I would pick a Diniz before I pick a Waldo Cortez Acosta.
Diniz to Spain.
You can do it. Yeah, I mean, it'd be a banger. It'd be fun to watch. I don't know what it accomplishes. I mean, Diniz is so young though that like he just needs like octagon time. So like,
just feed him.
And he's 8-0, so it's like, he just needs kind of opponents. So. Yeah. So, I mean, but right now, I mean, call me crazy. It's looking like Diniz and Parkin are like low-key the future of the heavyweight division. I mean, it's so thin. So it's like, I know it sounds like I'm making bold claims, but it's like there's nobody else to pick. Like, it's that or nobody.
Aspinall. I understand your point, but it doesn't really matter if anyone else can't be champ but Aspinall. And those two guys clearly are not to that level.
No, so, I'm not even talking about champ. I'm talking about like can crack the top 10. Like can get some of these dinosaurs.
I just don't see it. I really don't. All right. Looks like Dominic, according to my phone, lost power. So, we'll wrap it up with the Diniz Williams talk. Nobody gives a shit, right? Let's be honest. And Diniz 8-0, needs fights. Great. Let's get him some fights. This new wave, I don't know. We'll see. I don't see that at all. But We can keep pushing here to shining me and Dominic's wheels to the featherweight division here. We got Jarno Errens taking on Yusuf Zalal. Zalal making his second run in the UFC. I used to refer to Jarno Errens as I don't know, some form of the word can in Jarno's name. Then he got a nice win in his last fight. And Dominic and I kind of had changed our tune on old Jarno Errens. But that being said, we also have changed our tune on Yusuf Zalal since his second run in the UFC, which is interesting because he was a smaller, in and out, fast kickboxing kind of Moroccan striker, had a Moroccan accent, just young kid, like was 23 or 24. Now he's back. I think he's 29 and put on a lot of muscle, still the same weight class, so subbed out some fat, just kind of grew into his body, and has developed a grappling game that's really solid with obviously still maintaining his striking skills. So I thought perhaps that Zalal by decision was going to be the move, right? With Jarno Errens having a little bit higher ranking or rating in my opinion. And then Dominic put a good point out that Jarno Errens gets subbed, and he's not good at defending takedowns. And the new Zalal loves to get takedowns, work to the back, and get subs. And lo and behold, we ended up betting it at +3 or +280 at the casino we got it at. Fuck them because we saw it at +300. That's what we called it at. And yeah, man, you bet a +280. It's a long shot, but realistically, I thought Zalal was the winner of this fight all day long. He was -725 pre-fight odds. So I think a lock to win. But the reason the sub was so valuable is because everyone thought the decision was coming, much like me, semi-casual take. But yeah, Yusuf Zalal ends up getting the takedown, working to the back almost instantly, gets the body triangle in as Jarno Errens is standing up, so it was close. Good on Jarno Errens for almost getting out of position, but Yusuf Zalal gets that triangle in, backpacks him, starts fighting the hands, gets the choke locked in, and taps Jarno Errens. I was a happy man at that point. Finished a little bit in the red on the night, Dominic and I both, but this +280 cashing, 2 units for me, did put me pretty close to even on a 10-unit night. You can do the math at home if you care, but needless to say, Yusuf Zalal is going to be a factor at featherweight. For my personal rankings, I have him at like 27. I believe Dominic said he has him at 29. So we're not quite talking about fighting anyone like an Edson Barboza and Ige, Bryce Mitchell, none of the Lero Murphy, none of those guys. But there are some really fun fights on the horizon, I think, for Yusuf Zalal, and I think this is going to be a good run for him. Age-wise, let's see how old he is. He's 27. He'll be 28 here in a month. I think Yusuf Zalal has still growing, still getting better. I mean, you're talking about a guy that could potentially in 4 or 5 years be a top 7 guy, and Dominic might push back on that, but he lost power, so I'm going to tell you that. And with that said, we can keep it pushing to the unfortunate opening fight of the card. That's going to be Talita Alencar versus Stephanie Luciano. This is actually a rematch. Both these girls went to a draw in their first fight, with Alencar actually taking the first 2 rounds, wrestling, just kind of snooze-fucking her way to a win. And then Luciano 10-8'd the third round, striking, defending the takedowns, and just putting a whooping on Alencar. Alencar also gassing out there in that third round. So does get a draw. So Dana White, genius marketing, right? Builds a fight that no one would give a shit about with a rematch. My takeaway on this going into it was that when you're a wrestler and you have certain setups, certain entries that you like to work to, that you like to get to, it's the where you know you're best and where you're most successful, and the ways that if it does get stopped, you have multiple ways to chain your wrestling to a new position to potentially secure your takedown. With that being said, it was very evident in their first fight that Luciano had figured that out by round 3. So, me taking that into this next fight, I thought, Well, if she already knows all the setup, she's already defended and proven that she can make the mid-fight changes. Why couldn't she keep those changes in her whole camp, practice the whole camp with the experience she has against this girl who's not going to be able to change her whole wrestling approach? She might have one or two other tricks, sure. And maybe she gets one or two takedowns. But at the end of the day, it's like, can you develop a more diverse striking skill set than a takedown skill set? Of course. So Luciano has more tools in the bag to play with. Alencar does get one takedown in this fight, but one for 10 on takedowns, and Luciano stood up almost immediately. I think Alencar had 15, 20 seconds of control. So it just shows you that Luciano even learned how she was getting held down and the ways to stop that. So she was training her defense not only in takedown defense, but also in stand-ups and submission and position defense. Luciano even gets more control time than Alencar in this fight. Every judge scores at 30-27. I thought that was pretty straightforward. This is one where I kind of wish cardinal rule of the show, we don't bet on debutantes or anything like that. I do kind of wish that I had bet on this. Just the minus 160 number on Luciano was pretty juicy for the way I had envisioned this fight happening. Moving forward, this is women's strawweight. I do think I forgot to mention that. So 115ers here. I actually like Luciano. There's a lot of skills and things that she showed moving forward that I'm going to be pretty happy to watch. I think that she's going to be a pretty solid fighter. She'll be 25 before the year's over, close to Christmas birthday. So super young girl, only 6-1-1 in her career. Alencar 5-1-1 in her career, also young, but Alencar's skill set much more limited than Luciano's, and that's why I'm a lot heavier on Luciano here moving forward. But yeah, 4-fight prelims. As always, Beefy Boys breaking down every fight, every card. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, at Beefy Breakdown on X, at Beefy Boys Breakdown on IG. Also have a Facebook page for the Boom Booms, Beefy Boys Breakdown, of course. And then, yeah, we'll be coming at you guys this coming week with a betting breakdown. I know we missed the betting breakdown on this card. We filmed it. We just didn't get it posted. Didn't want to give it to you Friday night on a card that you really weren't going to care much about. And we only had we had 2-3 picks that we liked, so it didn't feel like there was enough real value to give out to the fans and call it an episode. So that being said, don't miss out and check out the betting episode probably coming at you this Thursday for UFC 305. That is going to be Adesanya du Plessis, and that is a fight I cannot wait for. Do not miss it. And don't forget to click down in this corner and check out the main card breakdown. That is going to be a lot juicier breakdown and a lot more worth your time. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.